All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're on Huddle Up podcast, episode 5. Got Hayden with me. Rocking, you got, what is that, Braves today?
It's the Cardi, because I'm hoping that fucking album comes out.
Okay, I like that. I like that. We got, you already know, we are 6 days out from that. But yeah, we're on episode number 5, full episode. Got a lot to get into today. First, we're going to start with the Christmas Day football games. LeBron said after his game yesterday, NBA kind of runs Christmas Day, and I didn't want to admit it, but the way these games looked, maybe that's true. First, Chiefs versus Steelers. Chiefs take it 29-10. We didn't. I don't know if we picked on this game. I can't remember, but yeah, not as close as people definitely thought it would be, regardless of the side. So, did you have any thoughts on this game?
Um, Steelers are frauds every single year. Um, that's just the way it is. Uh, I think we talked about it on the last podcast, but they just don't have offensive weapons to keep up with
Yeah.
everybody. When you're giving Van Jefferson serious playing time, just call it a season. You're
Yeah,
not
definitely
you're
are.
not serious.
Yeah.
Um, Najee Harris is now running back two there, which is pretty hilarious to me. Getting outplayed by Jalen Warren by like a significant margin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Steelers defense is not, well, they got clamped yesterday. I don't know how they didn't sack Mahomes once, but you saw that I you saw Cam Hayward was calling somebody out on the team, but they wouldn't say who it was that they were calling out. Did you see this?
I didn't.
He had like some quote, and he was like, "It's hard to win games when only 10 guys are playing on the team, like on our side of the ball." But nobody would call out who exactly was the culprit per se. Um, but I just think the Steelers are frauds. It's probably a hot take, but uh, I don't think Mike Tomlin's got it in his bag anymore. Or some of those, like Arthur Smith being your offensive coordinator, that's issue number one.
Yeah.
Um, but there's like all these memes about Mike Tomlin clinching the winning record, and then after that he just disappears for the rest of the year. Like
Sounds about right.
they punted the ball with 5 minutes left, and they were down 19. It's like it's 4th and 2. You're not going to win this game, but why are you punting like at all? Um, I just yeah, Steelers are frauds. What about you?
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that take, but I'm kind of gonna lean that I think this is more about the Chiefs and the Steelers. While I do think they're like the Steelers got a little bit exposed yesterday, I think the Chiefs are kind of catching stride a little bit. They're getting the passing game going. Mahomes had 320 and 3 tutties yesterday. Worthy's finally settling into kind of the rookie that I thought he would be. 2 straight games with the tutty, maybe actually 3 straight because he got one against Cleveland, got one against Houston, and then scored the first one yesterday. So Worthy's catching, his stride. Kelsey's kind of getting back to form. Hollywood Brown and D Hop, like this is, I think this is the offense that like people were looking for a really long time. And what kind of, I don't know if you know this because I know I follow more of the odd stuff than you do, but until like week 10, Mahomes was still like the MVP favorite despite how bad he was playing just because they really thought he was going to like eventually catch stride. Obviously, it didn't happen until way late. Like he's not winning the MVP. But my point is like the odds makers really thought that we were going to start to see this Mahomes against the good defenses, and it's definitely now coming out. So it's scary. It's scary for the league, scary for the AFC. Um, I think on the Steelers side, I think people just it's the team we kind of thought they would be, right? I mean, they're a team with a great defense. Are they a tier 1 contender? I don't think anyone really thought so. Maybe for a little bit when Russ was really in stride, but I mean, we kind of knew this is a pretty limited offense with a great defense. So you're never going to be tier one with that combo. Um, but the last two games for the Steelers have not been good. And so they're looking more on the. I think before I at least viewed them as a threat to like play the upset game. I think that's kind of out the door now. I bet they're a. Now they have the division lost pretty much at this point. And they're probably going to be first round exits, is my guess. But we'll see. I mean, they still have pieces. It's just that offense is it's just limited with Mr. Unlimited.
What was
Do you kind of agree with the Steelers being first round exits? Is that fair?
I mean, at this rate, I don't know what the playoff picture looks like, but
I think I can. All right, here. I think I can do it from my head. So
well,
Chiefs have the one seed locked, so they're the bye. The two seed is Bills, and they're going to take on the seven, which would be Broncos. So Bills, Broncos, I believe, and then um, three seed Ravens versus Chargers, and then Texans, Steelers.
I
That
guess I,
should be
I was
right.
more leaning towards I don't. That, we just got into week 17, right? So there's one
Yeah.
more week left. I don't know what
Yep.
has to occur for this to happen, but is there a possibility the Steelers don't even make the playoffs now?
No, they're locked in.
They're locked in. Okay.
They're
Yeah, they're
locked
definitely
in.
first round exits.
Yeah.
The only scenario I can see them winning is if they somehow match up with the Texans. Just because I think their D
Yeah.
line matches up well against the Texans O line. But I mean, do the quick rundown: Steelers against the Ravens, good night. Steelers against the Bills, major good night.
Yeah.
Um,
And that is going to be, I mean, unless something, because Steelers beat Chargers, and I believe Steelers also beat Broncos. So if they have the tiebreaker against both those teams, I think they're pretty much locked in as the five seed. So, I mean, they're playing Houston, I'm pretty sure.
then
I'll have to follow up on that,
I
but
guess I wouldn't call them first round exits only because of that matchup, but they'll definitely
yeah.
be second round exits if not first. I, yeah, I don't know what they do on offense that's just so trash, but it's like either deep ball I think on the Hard Knocks episode that they dropped this week, they were talking about it, and Russell Wilson's like the personification of the new NBA, where it's either he goes for the long ball or he'll
Yeah.
throw it short, but there's no in
Yeah.
between. He has no mid range. Um, yeah, that's pretty spot on.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
shout out the Ravens coach that said that because I definitely just jacked that.
I
Um,
think, and I by the way, I've been impressed with Russ. I've kind of liked overall what he's done. I think they're just super. I mean, you look at their skill guys. It's Najee Harris, who hasn't really been great. If we're on, like, he's solid, he's fine, but he's not great. George Pickens, who has three touchdowns this year and 900 yards. I mean, solid. It's fine, but that can't be your number one. And that's kind of the issue. Like they just like I think if they had a couple of even the Texans skill guys, like this would be a pretty threatening team, but you can't, trade for Mike Williams or whatever that was and expect that to be the solution. Like that's washed goods.
yeah,
Mm.
I don't really fear the Steelers, and I'm sure most of the teams in the AFC playoff picture don't, just because the Chiefs handled them with such ease.
Yeah.
And the weird thing was that they just destroyed the Steelers' offensive line without Chris Jones.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, Russ had how many times he get sacked yesterday?
It was
It was a
five.
lot. Yeah. Let's see.
It's like, and he didn't look
Defense.
comfortable
Yeah,
from
five
start to
sacks.
finish.
Yeah.
Like he didn't look like he wanted to be there.
No. No. That's a tough matchup, to be fair to Russ, but Yeah, it was. I mean, this team again. The people write off the Chiefs, and the next thing you know, like they're catching stride at the end of the year, and now Mahomes and the boys are gonna rest for Week 18, get a bye, and then go from there. So it's crazy. Um, that was great. That was great talking about that game because I don't want to talk about this game at all. At all. Like this pains me, but I've got a lot of takes, so that's good. Um, Ravens go in to Houston and win 31-2. Um, this is painful, but I think it's kind of like the Steelers situation. We kind of thought the Texans could be up there. We had seen a couple of decent performances from them over the last couple of weeks. Thought maybe they were catching some stride, and then they get humbled pretty quickly. And I think the discussion has to be had. We can have this real quick. Stroud, while you can't put it all on him, you also can't put it all on the O line. I saw him miss quite a bit of like easy throws yesterday, and I mean it's concerning. Like you see Lamar kind of jump around in the pocket, and then he throws a little dump off, and he hits the guy right in the hands. And Stroud is kind of does the same thing, and then he just overthrows him by 2 yards on a 5 yard like check down. Like you just can't do that. And I just think the discussion has to be had that maybe he's not what we thought he was. Still a solid quarterback, but maybe just a tad overrated. Am I hating like on my own team, or is that pretty fair?
Uh, well, not to victory lap this, but this Puka should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll just say it. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Stroud had a heck of a year, though. I mean, Puka's better for the long run. It seems like at this point, but like
I just don't
Stroud
know
had
how you break all those records and the guy wins because of touchdown to interception ratio. Uh, but I'll
yeah,
save that for another day. Shout out Will
that's
Anderson.
fair.
Um, but
That's my dog.
I,
Yep.
I just don't think I think people were jumping the gun probably on him, and you have to realize that you know schemes make the players and whatnot. And I think the one thing that you and I have talked about is the play calling from last year
Yeah,
to this year. Like in the Chiefs
it's
game,
changed.
I texted you when it was the first pick that Stroud threw, and they had the exact same route on the opposite sides, and they met right where all the corners and all the safeties were. There's like four Chiefs defenders, and it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like that was just pretty ridiculous to me. And then I don't know if I can really blame Sloak for yesterday, because
yeah. I struggle. Well, early on yesterday, because I know you were watching at least early in the game. The play, I mean, they said the stat. Like, Texans face the longest third down yardage on average in the whole league. And it's because they start with that super conservative play calling with Slowick, where they just hand it off on first and second down. And then you're in like third and eight. And you're like, okay, what, one play to get 8 yards, no margin of error. Like, you have no choice. And I think. And to be fair, I can't discredit that too much because I think running the ball is super important. But when you know like it's not working and the O line is not blocking, you have to be willing to adjust. If you're because putting yourself into third and eights every drive is a recipe for disaster. Even if you're the Chiefs and Mahomes, like you that's hard in the NFL to convert that, time in, time out. So yeah, to go back to the Slowick point, I think the way it started like that was concerning on Slowick's end, but he actually play calling wise definitely turned it around, I thought, and it just Stroud was not converting. That's what it felt like to me.
well, I think the one drive that I saw and I was like, this looks rough was I think there was a pass over the middle to Schultz that he missed.
Yep.
It was in I think the first quarter, and then he missed.
Yep.
I forget who he missed
Schultz
on.
again.
He missed Schultz
He
again, and then
missed
he
Schultz
missed
again and then missed
Nico.
Nico.
Yeah,
Yep.
those are all throws that he made last year.
Yeah. The first Schultz one, I wasn't like, I was like, okay, that's kind of a tough spot. I got the vision, tough throw. Okay, fine. Those next two were really bad misses. And that's when I sat there yesterday and I was like, I mean, I like Stroud. I think I think he's still a good quarterback. I think he's a very humble guy, which is what you want out of your quarterback. But man, he's got to get back to the lab, and you know we can throw this season away, get ready for next year. There's been a lot of injuries, but you don't see QBs miss throws like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that was
Stafford doesn't.
yeah, that was a tough one. Well, except for the arm punt against the Jets,
Yeah,
that was bad.
that's true.
But
That's
I,
true.
I guess I guess like how you said the Steelers thing with like how they're kind of like the Texans in this situation. I feel like you got to give credit to the Ravens because put
Absolutely.
they just Lamar only threw 15 passes yesterday and they won by 29,
Yeah.
right? It's like Jesus, dude.
It's really funny because I was giving people were asking for like my, betting take on this game yesterday. And I actually like while I did think the Texans were going to compete, I kind of got I feel like I did a pretty good job on what the Ravens offense would look like. I did not think Lamar I believe in Lamar's arm. I just thought the matchup of the Texans secondary versus the Ravens semi like weaker skill positions. Not weak, but probably average
Yeah.
esque. I thought they'd be able to hold their own actually really well, and they kind of did. I mean, Lamar had what? I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, 168 passing yards. He completed 10, and one of those was a
60.
67-yard dot to
Uh,
Mark Andrews. I mean, he did like he didn't have to do a lot through the air. I was more worried about Lamar's legs, and that proved to be true because Lamar was dicing, and they deserve credit. I mean, their defense showed up really well. The offense did what they had to. Derrick Henry was a Texan killer, like he always has been. This team's scary, man. I mean, I don't know if I put them above the Chiefs necessarily. I don't think I can do it, especially with how the Chiefs looked. I know we've kind of gone back and forth, but did yesterday like change it for you at all?
all I'm gonna say is, like I said on the last podcast, I don't think that's a team you want to come into your place, especially with the run defense and then how well they're able to run the ball. And I think they could honestly, you know, I think that the Ravens could win games if Lamar didn't have his right arm and they just ran read option every single play and they just ran
Oh, they
outside zone.
totally yeah, they
So,
totally could.
and like I was saying, the secondary's picking up. I had this stat on Twitter that I just saw that I got to pull up for you. But on top of Kyle Hamilton being the best safety in the league by like a significant margin,
Yeah.
says Wiggins over his last 9 games per PFF, 18 of 41 on target, so under 50%, 211 yards, no touchdowns, 6 pass breakups, and 60.1 passer rating. So it's like, that's your number 2 corner, right?
Yeah.
That's your number 2.
Yeah.
And I think that they're starting to hit their stride with the secondary. I think um,
Hmm.
that's I like the Ravens as like my AFC team outside of the Texans because we're boys, but I really like
Yeah.
Lamar and Kyle Hamilton, and I don't know. I'm sure the Chiefs and the Bills are probably hoping that the Ravens get knocked off in the first round because one of them is gonna have. I think the Bills would have to play them, and the
Yeah.
Bills spanked the living life out of the Bills earlier this
Yeah.
season. Um, so I definitely have them as 3, but it's probably closer to 2A 2B with the Bills only because
Yeah.
the Bills offensive explosion. If you really look at it, like I mean, Josh Allen's been good all year, but the 2 games that he really boomed against were the Rams, who have I think the second youngest defense in the league behind the Packers, and then the Lions, who have 11 guys on IR and they're all
Yeah.
starters.
Yeah.
and he looked terrible against the Patriots. I know he got hurt a little bit, but it's like,
No, I've watched a lot of that game actually. They kind of had him boxed up for the most
yeah,
part.
like you can't. I don't think that there's been a time where you can really box Lamar. Like you can limit him. I, I just
Yeah.
we'll wait till the playoffs because Lamar always does this stuff to us. And I said the exact same thing last year, and then he put up just an egregious stinker against the Chiefs. So I'll wait, but
I know.
I just I wouldn't want to play the Ravens if I was one of those teams. Really, any team in the AFC, that's probably the toughest out of all the lower seeded teams, if you will. That's not one or two.
Well, they're definitely like those three have separated themselves. And it's like we kind of thought there were a couple teams that were right there, maybe they were like here and here, but it's like I mean, it's one of those three that's going to come out and we definitely know that. I think I want to be fair to the Ravens because I feel like I've been a little harsh on them. I've liked them in spots this year, but in terms of like the big picture, I've been pretty against them. I think they're really putting together like their defense has really started to come together, like you were saying. Like that secondary that was getting pretty exposed. Wiggins definitely hitting his stride a little bit. Marlon Humphrey getting back to form. Um, I don't know if it's enough, honestly, but I am going to give him credit, like because it seems like those weak spots that people were going after, they fixed. So they've put themselves in a position to do it. Do I trust him going into Arrowhead? I don't know. I definitely hesitate, but I think I think it would be just as good of a game as Week One if they were to play tomorrow in Arrowhead. I think it'd be a heck of a game. I don't know at the end if they'd take it, but um, it would be good. I mean, Lamar's people are talking about Lamar's season, but also not really. Like his stats are unbelievable. Like TD interception ratio, you can go into all of it. Doesn't really matter what he's doing with his arm plus with his legs. I mean, it's unreal. It's unreal. I want to see him do well in the playoffs. I am rooting for him. I just realistically, I just don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope he wins the Super Bowl, preferably not this year, depending on how that parlay looks that we put down. But
Yep.
I wouldn't be mad if he was the person to kill it, only because I think they can match up. I mean, the only team that really matches up well against everybody, I think, is obviously the Chiefs, but also Philly, just because they have such a loaded roster. But even then, Philly
Yeah.
got diced by a rookie quarterback, and I know he's having offensive rookie of the year caliber year,
Hmm.
and he's probably going to win it. But Quinyon was burnt toast back there. Everybody was burnt toast, really. DeJean, Blankenship,
Yeah.
the old guy that they have playing Slay. Um, I just I think the Ravens beat everybody except for maybe those two, and it's just unfortunate that they just can't make it out of the AFC with Mahomes. But maybe we're wrong this year. I'd be pleasantly surprised to see Lamar reach a Super Bowl, only because people give Burrow. This is just kind of off topic, but people
Yeah. Yeah.
people give Burrow so much credit for losing a Super Bowl and making it there, whereas I'm looking at a two-time MVP, potentially a three-time MVP, and people have the audacity to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'd take Burrow over him." I'm like, no, no,
I really hope people wouldn't take. I know there are people, but if I could tell them, like, and I like Burrow more than you. I have some. I don't have the same bias, but we can't be putting Burrow over Lamar. We can't. At this point, that's cooked. It's Lamar over Burrow until we see differently. I think Burrow's still great. I think he's like right here. I mean, he's still having a great year. That defense in Cincinnati is like horrendous, but he's gone toe to toe with Lamar
yeah,
both games they've played. So I think he's there. I just think Lamar's just he's just a touch better, and I don't think it's disputable. So I'm with you there.
yeah, I probably have think it's Lamar, Josh, and Mahomes, and you can mix any of those three together, and that would be the top three
Yeah.
QBs by like I don't know. I just think if you're 27 and you break the rushing record already, you know, I just
Yeah.
ugh.
I think you could probably make a case that Bo Nix is number one. No, I'm just playing. All right, here we go. Sorry,
This is
I
what I
had to
deal
get you
with.
there. I had to get you there. Let's go to NBA real quick. I don't think we either of us were super locked in, but there's a couple of scores to look at for sure. And just, I mean, this is a big day for the NBA. This is kind of where they transition their season. So, um, the big ones to look at: Lakers beat the Warriors by two in Golden State. Suns beat the Nuggets by 10 without D Book. Sixers beat the Celtics in Boston. That's a big deal. And then the Knicks beat the Spurs, but Wemby put up a 42 and 18 game. So there were a lot of good games yesterday. I'm not super locked in on the NBA right now, but it's definitely fun um, come playoff time. I mean, what do you think about this Lakers game? I know we go back and forth on the Lakers. I mean, people were talking a lot about the Lakers trading AR, and then he puts up a triple double, which is actually insane. Um, do you think the Lakers make a move before the deadline, or are they just going to stand packs like we kind of see them usually do?
I was one of the people that was like, I could move AR for like a Zach Levine, but he obviously must have read my tweet yesterday because he just went nuclear. Um, they need people because I don't think beating the Warriors is that impressive at this point of the year. I think they're kind of slumping, and it was really just Curry versus five guys on the other team yesterday.
Yeah,
But I just don't know who it is, and Palinka is the most stingy GM in the league because he wants to save all these first rounders for no apparent reason.
and they never really turn into anything.
Yeah, and they beat the Warriors without Davis basically for the whole game.
Yeah,
I think they were missing a few other like role player guys. Shout out Vando, but not really. That dude's
I love my guy, but
KMS.
it's over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. They had D'Lo out. Hayes didn't play. Vando
would.
obviously didn't play, and then AD after the first. Yeah,
But I don't know. They could have gotten Valanciunas in the free agency, and there's rumors that they were supposed to hit up the Wizards on the 15th, and then that never happened. It's 11 days past
yeah.
then, so I don't think they'll make a move, and they're just going to fizzle out, whether it be in the play-in or in the first round. But I think the real big talking point is probably just a little off topic, but when are we going to admit Wembanyama is probably the best player in the NBA? I
Yeah,
I that 14 game stretch that he's had the past 14 games is probably the best 14 game stretch I've been alive um, to like just see. Um, it's not normal when someone gets 8 blocks. Like I think he was averaging 8 blocks a game in the month of November, I want to say, or December, some stretch like that. And it's like, okay, there's nothing he can't do. And the minute they get help, the Spurs dynasty is back. Um,
yeah.
like there's rumors they might get De'Aaron Fox. There's rumors they might get like a guy like just a true point guard to run with him.
Or they have CP3. It's just not quite. I mean, he's old. It's the right
Yeah,
idea. That's kind of what you're looking for, but he's. I mean, all respect to CP0, but he's 39.
yeah.
You know,
I like that move in the offseason, but
I did too.
he's just like I don't know how you can dispute him. I mean, the only person that you can really say pound for pound is better is Jokic, and even then, I think I don't know what the rankings look like, but they're not too far off, and the Nuggets have, I'd say, a superior roster overall compared to the Spurs if you were to take out
For
Jokic and
sure.
Wembanyama, right? So I'm mortified for the NBA the next 10 years because
Yeah,
he's that's the guy. Just
that's the guy.
that's the guy. That's all I have to say. I don't know about you, but that's the guy.
Yeah. So I got just a little backstory. So I had to pull up my DK. I don't know how this will go. Okay, it's in reverse, but Wemby's points line yesterday. I got plus odds for Victor to score 24 points. He put up 42. It was not a shocker. He played against Cat. So, listen, I think if they're raw, I mean, they're the 11 seed in the West with I don't want to be critical, but like this roster is just not good. Like, it's just not. And they got role players. Like it's not awful. It's just not good. They're kind of like in the middle. And if they were to get a guy that could really go alongside Wemby, like that's scary. That's definitely scary for the league because you can't guard this guy. I mean, 42 and 18 in Madison Square Garden is ridiculous. And he didn't shoot the best, but still 51%. So, like, you're going to take that all day. 4 blocks, 4 assists. I mean, yeah, that's scary. I mean, do you think, what are the odds? I wish there was a bet. I'd be curious to see where Vegas was on it. For the Spurs to win a championship in the next 3 years, would you think about taking that? 3 years? I mean, you're betting on them getting like one guy, right? You bet on them getting a star. They still have Pop. They kind of keep the core. I mean, I think it's possible. I feel like the West is kind of opening up a little bit. You obviously still got OKC. That's the clear favorite right now in the West, I would say. But other than OKC, I mean, the Rockets are the 2 seed and the Grizzlies are the 3 seed right now. I'm not. I mean, Mavs, I'm not super worried about. Nuggets, sure, but I don't know. I think they could do it. Do you think it's possible in the next 3 seasons? I'll say after this one. So 2026 finals, 2027 finals, 2028 finals. Can the Spurs win a title in one of those years with Wemby?
Yeah, just depending on who they
Like, would
get.
you make that bet? Would you make that bet?
I guess depending on the odds, like if it was like plus 1,000, heck yeah, I'd make that bet yesterday. I
Yeah.
think it just depends on who they get and who they have to give up because Keldon Johnson, they got to send that guy off badly.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
a must. But if you're able to keep Castle, who I think is a fine rookie, and you're able to keep Vassell, and then kind of build, like get some role players, and I'm sure people are going to want to come play with Wembanyama. I don't know who wouldn't want to play
I would think so.
on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like my only concern is that the Thunder have so many assets. It's
Yeah, it's
disgusting.
it's insane.
Like
Like they could have Cooper Flag there. It's
yeah,
possible.
and I think they still have 20 something, or maybe not 20, but they probably have in the high teens, low 20s picks left. Um, like the core, as long as it's SGA, Chet, and J Dub, they could move around every other guy like Caruso, Wallace, the other Jalen Williams. They just have a bunch of young guys and they have a bunch of like maneuverability. I
Mhm.
It'd be hard for Wembanyama, I think, to overcome that. But if they get a guy like Fox, I think that's like the name that's been floated around.
That would be a sweet pairing. You got Wemby, Fox. They draft a guy next year.
Yeah, like
I mean,
and
I,
the
I
Celtics
would say
too.
I would take that bet pretty confidently for them to win it, not including next year, or I'm sorry, not including this year, but over the next 3 seasons. I bet they could do it.
Yeah, as long as the Celtics, I don't know. The Celtics have a good core, but I think they obviously weren't in this team without Derek White or Drew Holiday. So I think if they were somehow to lose one of those guys or both of them, and then Horford's not going to be playing another 3 years, I I don't think Tatum and Brown is enough for Wembanyama. Quite frankly.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's fair.
so yeah, I'd take the bet as long as the odds weren't like as long as they're not favorites for it. Like if they're dogs and they're like plus 400, 500, 600.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd probably hammer that bet, honestly.
yeah. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Is there anything else in terms of the NBA? I mean, are you concerned for the Celtics after losing that game? I mean, they've lost now two straight. They're a couple games back of the Cavs still. Um, I mean, they're still the favorites. Does that kind of sit well with you? Is that fair?
I know you're a Oregon football fan. Obviously, you love Oregon athletics, and you hate the Niners. And I know that Dumbledore Lenore is one of the
It's my
products of there,
dog.
but he had a good saying after the Rams beat them the first time this year, but he was pretty quiet after the second game. I'll say that. Um, he said
He's
after
a
the
talker
he
for
said
sure.
after the first game, even a garbage can gets a steak every once in a while, which good for him, I guess. But I
It's
just
crazy, actually.
like the Sixers will win a game or two here or there, and I'm sure team like the Bulls beat the Celtics. Like
Yeah.
I'm not worried until either one of the two stars go down or one of the two insanely good role players go down, specifically Derek White. They're gonna come out of the East. I do think I've been sleeping on the Cavs this season. I think Evan Mobley's like miniature
Yeah.
Wembanyama now, just in size. But even then, I am mortified playing against Evan Mobley. I think he's finally hitting his like what he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And those are the only two teams realistically that scare me because Magic are hurt and Embiid is such a loser in my opinion. I hate Embiid.
Oh, I think everyone, I don't know who likes Embiid anymore. If you like Embiid, you're like flawed. I don't know. I mean, the dude's hurt all the time. The dude's complaining all the time. I mean, maybe he's a nice guy, but like, he doesn't play basketball, which is his job, so he doesn't work, and he just is hurt. So I don't know.
And they call SGA the free throw merchant when that dude is 6'11 or no 7'1", 270
Yeah,
and he's flopping. It's like I have no respect as a basketball fan watching him play basketball, but nice win on Christmas Day. I'm sure that'll be the highlight of their season. Um,
dude, it's super random. I have my like other computer over here, and I was like looking at NBA stuff like as we go. The Cavs play the Nuggets tomorrow in Denver. Maybe I'll pull up.
that's actually yeah, that's
That's
get your
actually a good
money's
game.
worth.
Um, yeah. Anyway,
Celtics
should we?
Thunder final this year.
Yeah, I think Celtics Thunder final is pretty locked at this point. I mean, I don't think. I mean, the Thunder looked bad in that NBA Cup, but I don't think. I think they'll be focused. That was a neutral site too, by the way. Like the Thunder would have a game seven to go to the finals at home, probably. So I don't know. I'm not super worried about it. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I think yeah. Celtics Thunder. Give me OKC. Let's go. All right. Well, let's get into our. We're finally back. We missed last week in terms of like getting it on the podcast and getting it on film, but we're back to our pick'em. We're gonna go through every game, and we are now. So this episode's dropping Friday, but today is Thursday as we're recording this. So we're gonna put out our picks for Thursday night today on Instagram. So you can skip this part of the video if you want, because this game will be passed. But we're starting with the Thursday night game, of course, Seahawks at Bears. The spread is moved to -5 for the Seahawks. Where do you go there?
This is a game of garbage versus trash. In in theory, the Seattle corner should be able to lock up the uh, the Bears' skill positions, and this should be a pretty comfortable game for Seattle. Um, the one issue is that Seattle's offensive line probably isn't traveling to Chicago for this game, as it hasn't for the last whole season. Um, and ever since they traded Max Unger, I think that was the back in 2014 or whatever for Jimmy Graham. I think
Yeah.
that's cursed their offensive line since. Um, Gino is trash. Um, I don't think DK Metcalf is very good. Tyler Lockett is going to retire after the year. Shout out.
If you would not want DK as a Ram.
I watched so many of those Sunday night battles or Sunday day game battles where Ramsey just put him in a blender, and he would just throw out the biggest temper. He's like George Pickens, but with a bigger body.
That's
Um,
true.
I do like JSN, and I've been saying that he's their best offensive weapon all season, and it's finally coming to fruition. I think he's like by a considerable margin the best player on their team. I, outside of Witherspoon, probably. I think Witherspoon's probably up there with him. Um,
Yeah,
but I know Kenneth Walker's out this game, and Charbonnet's playing. I have Charbonnet in fantasy, so I really need him to get loose this game. Um,
I believe.
but -5 is they should win by 2 scores. Should.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think I want to take the Bears, man, but because that's kind of the thing to do. You take a home underdog, but when you get to this late in the season, Seahawks still kind of fighting for a playoff spot, maybe. Like they need to win this game, and then the Bears are just fried. I mean, the offensive, like specifically on the O line, I still have some belief in the weapons there, but O line wise, left tackle is like a revolving door, which is not a good recipe for success. And DeAndre Swift, we were talking about this last episode, definitely taking a fall. Um, and I have a little more faith in the Seahawks than you, but
You
I
should.
think I know. We'll see, we'll see. But I think I'm gonna go Seahawks -5 here too. I can't bet on Caleb Williams at this point until next year. We'll come back around next year, but
Caleb with
for the
Ben
moment,
Johnson next year is going to destroy the league
yeah, exactly.
with an offensive line.
If that alignment happens, it's over. Ben Johnson is cooking with
Send
that
DJ
line.
Moore to China. That dude is not a real wide receiver. That's Debo Samuel cosplaying over there.
Maybe yeah, maybe he'll go to. Yeah, he's gonna be a Patriot probably. Um, all right, let's see. Next up, we got. So now we're on to. Oh, we got some Saturday games too. Interesting.
Hmm.
Um, so Saturday, Chargers at Patriots. Chargers are favored by 4. Who do you like here?
The Patriots?
You thinking Patriots?
Only because it just said I got a notification Gus Edwards is out and J.K. Dobbins is questionable. Um,
Yeah.
Gonzalez, shout out the Oregon corners. That is
Oh,
top 3 corner in the league. Um,
it's
I
my
think
dog.
I think it's him. You could go him, Sertan Stingley, or him. Witherspoon's a good mention. Um, but he's clamping up Lad McConkey. I don't really care. I, I this is really funny though. I think these two quarterbacks are very similar
Hmm.
in the kind of their game style. I like Drake May a lot, and that ball he placed against the Bills was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. Um, and they're at home, and the Chargers I don't think are used to the cold, but they do have Harbaugh. I just Yeah, maybe I'm looking for an upset here, but I just think the Patriots, especially after they almost beat the Bills and the Chargers barely beat the Broncos, I'm just going to lean Patriots. Maybe not to win, but to hopefully cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. You got to be skeptical of like the underdogs, I feel like, at this point in the year, because how much do they really have to play for? What kind of draft pick do they want? But in the NFL, like the good thing is you're always gonna have guys trying because especially on these teams, like guys on the Patriots that are, not necessarily locks to be on the team next year, they're trying to make their impact known. And so they're not going to be in complete tank mode and like throw it on purpose. You can't do that in the NFL. It doesn't work. So, um, I think the defense, I think like what you said with my guy CG and against the Chargers kind of lack. Yeah, strap seatbelt. Come on. I think it's a good spot for the Pats. I could see them actually winning this one. Uh, I'll be the first to admit where I was wrong, and I think Drake May was one of those where I was wrong. I think you don't want to get too carried away. Mac Jones looked really good in his rookie year, and then that never panned out. Um,
Don't
Obviously,
don't
way more
compare him, man.
examples than that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm being fair. I'm being neutral. I just said I was wrong.
CJ
I
Stroud.
think, yeah, peace. Um, I think, but all that to say, I like Drake May. I like what I'm seeing from Drake May. He's got the arm and the athleticism, and I mean, he's doing it with not a lot in New England. So I think they could, I think they could take this one. So I'm with you.
It's the battle of
Patriots
it's the
for there.
battle of where T Higgins is going to land in the offseason.
Yeah, winner takes T. Let's go. Um, this is an interesting one. I'm curious to see where you land here. Broncos at Bengals. Bengals are favored by 3.5. I can go first too, if you're
Yeah, I'm
thinking.
gonna opt for you to go.
I'm struggling with this one. I wish I could just tell you to put your life savings on the over and not make a spread pick, but I do have to make a spread pick. I'm gonna take. I'm taking Broncos plus 3.5, and I'm taking it with skepticism. It's not, Bo Nix bias. I'm taking it with caution, but I think you have to take. If it was, if the spread was 3, I would probably go Cincy to win by a field goal. But you're giving me the 3.5. I think I got to go Denver with that. I think there may be a little undervalued because of some poor Bo Nix play. I think against the pretty weak Cincy secondary, I think he can definitely rebound. Um, it's a weird one though because the Bengals like need to win it, so it wouldn't surprise me to see them like put everything all out. It's going to come down to if Sertan can limit Chase, not clamp him, but limit him, and I don't know if he can. But I'm going Broncos. I'm going Broncos because of the 3.5. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think I have the exact same point with you on the 3.5 versus like the 3. But yeah, I'll take the Bengals just to defer here, only because
Yeah.
I think if even if Sertan takes out Chase, they still have T Higgins on the other side, and I don't think Riley Moss is going to be the guy to stop him. Just quite frankly,
Yeah.
and Chase Brown's look good. I know Denver's defense is really good, and that's kind of the matchup that scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals defense is dog water, um, but I I'm my opinion on Bo Nix, and I haven't really seen it from him the last couple weeks. I think he's kind of not played as well as he can, and so I don't know. I want to say the Bengals maybe have a good day against him if they can get through. If they can get through and get some pressure on him, or if they can get a pick early, something like that. But I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna end up regretting taking the Bengals. But here I am. So
Here we are.
here we are.
All right, just so you know, this game specifically, we'll probably talk about it a little more, but after we got to make them shorter just because
Okay.
of time, which is fun. It's both of us. Um, Cardinals at Rams. Rams are favored by 6.5 in SoFi. Are you going with your boys? Or are you nervous about the number?
If the Rams don't beat them by 2 touchdowns, I will genuinely be upset. So I take the Rams in this one. I will be
Yeah.
pissed if they somehow keep this game close. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think with what you said about the Cardinals tackle situation and the way the Cardinals have kind of just fallen off, and for the Rams it being a must win, I think you have to take the Rams with the points. I would probably take a -9.5 too, honestly. I think I think the Cardinals, unfortunately for them, have just taken a steep drop. They're now out of playoff contention, I believe. So give me the Rams -6.5. I'm there with you. Jets at Buffalo. Buffalo by 9.
Yeah,
What do you
Buffalo
think?
kills them.
You think?
Yeah, unfortunately. I need Devontae to go nuclear in this game, but that's not happening. And I think the Bills having the close game against the Patriots last week is going to wake them up because that shouldn't have happened in any universe. Um, Yeah, the Bills kill the Jets probably by 2 touchdowns, is my guess.
Yeah, I this is going to be one where we're on opposites again. I think I'm going to go Jets. I'm going to buckle up and go Jets. They've seemed to show some fight over these last couple weeks. It could be kind of a deceiving fight, but I mean, why not? I think divisional game. I don't really know what the Bills are playing for. I mean, the one seed's locked up. They want to make sure that like they're above the Ravens, but I think they are. So maybe it's just the MVP Josh Allen game.
I guess if the Bills somehow lost out and the Ravens won next week, they'd have the same record, and the Ravens beat them, right? So hypothetically,
Yeah.
but
I guess I'm gonna look at it really quick while we're just talking about it. Hang on,
I don't even
almost
know if
there.
head to head is the tiebreaker necessarily. I don't know if it's like conference wins. I don't know if it's divisional, how that all works out. But I
Yeah, I
think
mean
that
the Ravens or the Bills are 2 games above the Ravens. So as long as the Bills win one of these next two, they're fine on paper. And they play the Patriots week 18. So I don't know. I just think my gut's telling me Jets. So we'll see if they can fight. Um, Colts at Giants. Colts are favored by 7.5 on the road, which is kind of wild. This is not a game I'll be watching, but we're gonna make a pick. So where do you go?
uh, I guess I'd go Colts only because the Giants are just a terrible organization and a terrible team. But I would not be surprised if the Giants somehow made it close. But if Jonathan Taylor runs like how he did last week, all bets are off. So yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
Colts.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the 7.5 and just see what happens because the Giants are really that bad. So Colts minus 7.5. Yeah, we'll see. That's not gonna be in my favorite three for sure, but that'll be my pick.
Yeah,
Panthers at Bucks. Bucks are favored by 7.5.
they need this game really bad because right now they're not in the playoffs. But 7.5 is kind of crazy against the Panthers, I think, because the Panthers have shown like they're going to be somewhat better next year. I think they're in the right direction.
Yeah,
Oh my god. I'm gonna go Bucks.
that's a rough one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I want to say Panthers, but I think the Bucks need this game badly, and I think they're gonna show up, especially after they look terrible against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the reason I'm with you. Is they're I would think I hate taking a favorite of minus 7.5. It goes against everything I usually do, but I think you have to. You can't take these rough underdogs. And Carolina didn't look. Let's see. Last week they played. Who was it? I feel like I remember the game. Um, oh, the Cardinals. The Cardinals. That's right. They went to OT. Yeah, I mean they look fine, but it's the Cardinals. So I think we got to go Bucks in a bounce back spot. I'm with you there. Cowboys at
Eagles.
Eagles. Now I don't know if Jalen's going to play, but as of right now, with the information we have, it's Eagles minus 6.5. So we got to go with
Eagles.
that. Eagles. Okay. That's it. There it is. Um,
Don't say it.
Eagles minus 6.5.
Okay.
There it is. I want to go Dallas kind of, but again, when you get to these games, like you don't really know who's gonna play, what's really going on. I think I'm just trying to think of the. I mean, they need to win this game with or without Hurts. I mean, they still have a chance for the one seed, so I think I
They need
think
to
they do.
they need to lose for my bet too. This game and
That's
then the
true.
Giants.
So should we go Cowboys then?
No.
Yeah, Eagles minus 6.5. Let's run it. Um, Raiders at Saints. This is brutal. You can pick your team. It's a pick 'em. No spread.
Saints.
Saints.
Yeah, I don't know what. I just yeah, the Saints. Something about it. They both
I
suck.
don't know. I don't know. I can't figure this out.
This is the toilet bowl.
This is bad. Neither. Um,
The refs.
yeah, the refs. I'm gonna go Saints. Why not? I mean, they're at home, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Actually, you know what? I'm going Raiders because I need them. I need Bowers for fantasy. So
okay. W.
let's go Bowers. Um, Titans at Jaguars. It's
Jaguars.
also a pick 'em. Pick your team.
Jacksonville has the best player on the field on Sunday.
Who's that best player?
The receiver that
Brian
I
Thomas.
wanted the Rams to draft.
Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Brian Thomas it is. Money line. Okay. Um, these suck. This is a rough pick 'em right now. I'll go Jags with you though. Why not? I mean, there's no analysis here. It's too bad. Like, I'm not even gonna bore people with that.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
it doesn't matter.
Trash versus
Um,
garbage again.
yeah. Dolphins at Browns. This is kind of an interesting one. Dolphins favored by 6.5 in Cleveland.
Browns.
Yeah, that's
Tua can't play in the cold weather.
yeah. I'm. I mean, we can't. We have some different picks, which is good. But wow, man, that's tough. I think I got to go Browns with you though. I think the cold weather thing is fair. It's very true, and the Browns always fight. They just do. So I'm with you there. Packers at Vikings. This is also a pick 'em. This might be game of the week.
Vikings because they get Ivan Pace back this week.
Yeah. I was hoping we'd be different sides, but we're not. I think Viking. I think I'll talk a little bit more about this one too. I think I still think the Vikings are underrated. I think Darnold's playing well. They have the weapons, and they're hosting Green Bay. I think that matters. I think in Lambeau, I might feel a little differently. I'd probably take the Packers there, but in Minnesota, the way they've been playing offensively, and the Packers have looked really good as well. But I don't know. It just something's telling me Vikings. I mean,
They need the seed.
yeah, they need. I mean, if they win this game, they have a chance at the division. So, yeah, I like that. I like that. I like going Vikings. The Sunday night ugly game, kind of Falcons at Commanders. I mean, Penix versus JD5 is kind of fun, so I'm with that.
I forgot Penix was
Um,
playing.
yeah. So Falcons are underdogs by 4 points in Washington.
Commanders.
Commanders.
Only because I don't know if Penix is. I need Drake London, but I don't. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think the Commanders win this one, and then the Falcons flip flop with the Bucks again, and the Bucks take over the division. So it kind of fits my narrative.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Falcons here actually at the +4. I think maybe Commanders are a little like JD5 has definitely stepped up, and I've been happy for it because I have him in fantasy. But maybe they're a little overhyped right now, just by a tad. I think the Falcons have not been good, but they've got a new QB in there. I think they're willing to play. They need this win to have a chance. So I'm willing. I'm willing to take the 4 points and go Falcons here and see what happens. Um, Now Monday night, which we were talking about this game before we started recording. Lions at Niners, and the Lions are favored by only 3.5. Is that a number you're going to take with the Lions? Are you scared at all?
Nope. Give me that Lions boy.
Yeah. I think this is a weird number by Vegas, and sometimes this happens. Everything in my body says take San Fran. You have to. You have to. If they're giving you a line like this, but no. The NFL is not rigged. I can promise you that. And while Vegas might know something, the Lions are going to win this game by at least a touchdown. The Niners have not looked good. And I know that the Lions defense is beat up, and maybe that's kind of the logic in what Vegas is thinking, but holy cow, man. I mean, the Niners have not looked good. I don't know how you can take the Niners in this spot. Like, they've looked bad. Purdy's looked bad. So, I'm with you. We're going Lions there. We're going to put out our best three to the Instagram, so follow that. It's in the description. TikTok is now active, so we're locked in there. We're going to put the picks out on X as well. So that's what we got today. Leave all feedback, criticism, everything. If you want us to go over a certain topic, let us know in the comments. Hit that bell, that subscribe button. You feel me? And this is where we're at, man. The Texans are cooked. Gotta love it.
Go
Not
Rams.
really. Go Rams, baby. All right, we'll be back next week with an episode. Let's go.
Peace.
Let's go.